Captain Harv. What is the FAA's definition of a congested area? I don't know, but you can use the Frenzel maneuver to clear it up. I'm funny. Knowing how the FAA defines a congested area is actually pretty important if you intend to fly low. As we all know, FAR 91.119 states we're supposed to stay 500 feet above the ground and 1,000 feet over congested areas. But there are a lot of places in the world that make pilots scratch their heads and wonder if they're congested or not. Further, there are some exceptions to the congested area rule which, of course, are subject to the interpretation of your friendly neighborhood FSDO. Obviously, the surest way to remain out of the FAA's litigious crosshairs is to remain 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle and 2,000 feet to the side at all times. But then again, that's not what America is all about. America is about freedom. And if you can do something, then by lucky Lindy's prop wash, you should be able to do it! As I was saying, maybe you need a little more detail on the rules before you go for a sightseeing trip over questionable areas. Here's the official FAA language, paraphrased so you know exactly what a congested area is. A congested area is an area that is congested. FAR 91.119b states that, except where necessary for takeoff and landing, no person may operate an aircraft lower than 1,000 feet AGL and 2,000 feet horizontally over any congested area of a city, town, or settlement, or over an open-air assembly of persons. Now, if you don't see where this is headed, you don't know the FAA very well. Allow me to explain. The FAA has, very intentionally, left the definition of congested areas pretty loosey-goosey. The reason? They want to be able to make decisions about violations on a case-by-case basis. We can get an idea of how the FAA thinks by noting a couple of things. First, the FAA is fully aware that they can't catch pilots who fly below radar in remote locations and don't enrage any overflow landlubbers enough to make them call the sheriff with your tail number. In a sense, the FAA acknowledges that while they wish you wouldn't do that, their ignorance is your bliss. However, the FAA has also gone to some lengths to make the general non-flying public, including all the busybodies in the world, aware of the procedures for complaining about low-flying aircraft directly to the FAA. The FAA Guide to Low-Flying Aircraft, wonderful little pamphlet, is available on the FAA's website and gives your fussy neighbor Karen an excellent excuse to complain about your aviation antics. Believe me, you don't want to get a call or receive a letter from the FAA asking about your questionable altitude choices. There is an exception for helicopters, of course, since they operate very differently, with different flight characteristics than fixed-wing aircraft. In the past, the FAA has successfully enforced violations for flying over cars on a highway, small clusters of houses in a rural area, people on a beach, and even a small group of pilots on an airport ramp. As with so many FARs, the definition of a congested area is left to the judgment of the FAA based on how risky or brazen the pilot's actions were, and also based in no small part on how irritated they made people on the ground. This is Captain Harv reminding you, I'm the only pilot who's ever landed successfully on runway 37. I'm that good. Yeah. Yeah, it's called the Frenzel maneuver. You suck going up and blow going down. No, that's very different.